In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the worst things that you can do at the track that'll make it way harder for you to focus and keep you from riding at your best. If you don't know me, I'm Logan Lesser, a national motocross racer, having won over 15 state championships and an amateur national championship. I'm an extreme sports athlete and ran a marketing agency for over 4 years, growing it to $30,000 a month. And while doing so, was able to travel the world living in Cape Town, South Africa, part-time throughout the past few years. And I've spent nearly $50,000 on mentors, coaches, courses, and education, learning from the best of the best in business, fitness, mindset, racing, and so on. Now I'm sharing what I've learned and growing my community, the Champion Protocol, linked in the description below. Now, what I'm actually going to be talking about is very, very simple, but this is something extremely serious that affects you way more than you think on the mental side of things. And it affected my brother a lot and actually messed with his eyes big time, to where he literally, he'd be out on the track and he had to pull off because his eyes would be messing with him so much and he couldn't focus and everything. So this is something that he's had to work on a lot and basically eliminate, so that he's been able to fix that. And ever since he did, he hasn't had any of those issues with his eyes and everything, and he's been able to focus way easier. Now, what I'm talking about here, this crazy secret and this crazy complicated thing, is get off your phone when you're at the track. And hear me out and hear why, because it's the why that's actually the most important, because it's actually very, very interesting what the effects are of when you're on your phone at the track versus when you're not. And I've actually got some bullet points here and stuff that I'm going to go over. So I actually prepared some stuff for you guys in this video versus me just rambling and riffing. But honestly, the biggest thing with being on your phone at the track is that it is simply too much stimulation for your eyes and your mind, that it makes it way harder for you to focus out on the track. The easiest way that I would, I'd explain this to Colby, my little brother, and I'd explain it to him in this way, which is kind of the easiest, I would say, which is, imagine that you're just scrolling through TikTok. Say you're taking a break off the track and you're sitting there having your water and chilling before your next moto, and you're sitting on your phone and you're just scrolling through TikTok, you're scrolling through Instagram. Think about what your eyes are doing. They're going like this, they're going up and down constantly, looking at all these new videos, and they're getting constant stimulation that is literally just making your eyes go nuts. And now, when you put the phone away, it's time for you to go focus in your moto and everything. You go out on the track and you're trying to get your eyes to focus ahead and really be able to obviously have that crazy mental focus and split-second decision-making that you need with motocross, but your eyes are still so stimulated and still so distracted and everything from what you were doing on your phone that it makes it almost impossible to do that and to flip into that state of focus and everything. And when it comes to your phone and stuff, it really, on the sciencey side of things, it causes major mental fatigue. And what I'm referring to is that there's actually been research that shows that constant phone use tires out your prefrontal cortex. And that's basically the part of the brain that's responsible for decision making and focus. So literally staring at your phone before a race drains your mental energy. And motocross is obviously one of the most physically demanding sports in the world. And especially motocross riders who are still in school and everything, they're constantly getting into arguments, or at least I did, with baseball players and football players and all these other guys, hockey players and all these guys, trying to say, no, motocross is way harder, it is the most physically demanding. But something that most racers don't mention is it's also the most mentally demanding sport, or one of the most mentally demanding sports out there. But if you're staring on your phone at the track the whole time, you are literally fatiguing your mind and making it nearly impossible for you to actually operate at your highest level that you possibly can when you're out on the track, specifically mentally. And from my perspective and from my own experience racing and riding is honestly 80 to 90% mental, especially when you get to a certain level and you're racing at Loretta Lynn's, or maybe you're racing at a pro level and everything. Once you get to that level, everybody's good, everybody's skilled, everybody's in killer shape, everybody's training, working out, riding all the time. So when you get to that level, what really makes the difference is how you show up mentally. And if you show up like great mentally, but while you're there, you are literally on your phone constantly and just having that constant stimulation, fatiguing your mind, and literally tiring out your prefrontal cortex, that's going to make it so much harder for your mind to go out there and for your brain to be able to make those really quick decisions out on the track and for you to be able to focus and get in the zone. So that's the first thing. Now, the next thing is that it also reduces your reaction time. And there's actually been studies from the University of Utah that shows that heavy phone usage or heavy phone users have slower reaction times. Now, as you know, with motocross, reaction time is like huge. Like you have to have like some of the quickest reaction time out of anybody in the world in any sport in the world. And honestly, like the quick reaction time that's comparable to Formula One drivers or F-22 fighter pilots. Now, if you have even a slightly less reaction time than your like peak or your like highest level that you could have, you're immediately going to be at a disadvantage, especially on the start and getting the whole shot. Because when that gate even flinches, the person with the fastest reaction time is already going to have a way bigger advantage than everybody else. And actually, speaking of which, I'll give you a little like trick here that you can do, because when I was at Minios last year, what I would do before my races and everything to help with my reaction time, and I know a lot of like Formula One drivers, a lot of people do this, it's not like a hidden secret or anything, but it is something that I don't see very many people doing, is grab 2 like tennis balls or just like 2 lacrosse balls or whatever, and then have somebody else is going to have to do it with you, but have them hold them in front of you, and you're going to put your hands above theirs like this. So they're like holding the ball, your hands like this, except you're technically standing in front of them. So it'll be like that. And then basically they're going to drop either one or both of those. You don't know which one or if they're going to drop both, and you don't know when they're going to drop them. But you need to basically be ready. And as soon as you notice that one of them drops, then you have to go and catch it like that. And when you do it, like when you first start doing it, it's really difficult. But after I was doing it quite a bit at Minios and I was practicing and everything, I literally would catch it like every single time. So it's also pretty fun, but it helps massively with reaction time. What doesn't help with reaction time is being on your phone constantly. So eliminate it. Now, the next thing is cognitive overload. Now, your brain can only process so much information at once, and switching between social media and racing and riding and having to focus on the track and be able to get into the zone and everything, like it overloads your cognitive functions, which that'll lead to just worse performance and then also increased risk of mistakes. So aside from even just like being able to perform at your best, being on your phone also is going to increase the risk, because when you go out there and you're not at your highest level of focus and your brain literally is fatigued and your prefrontal cortex is fatigued and you don't have that really quick reaction time and that high level of focus, that's when you fuck up and make mistakes and hit the ground, and sometimes hit the ground super hard to where you actually hurt yourself. So if you don't want to do that, get off the phone. Now, the next thing is eye strain and fatigue. Now, when you're on your phone a lot and a lot of screen time, it causes eye strain and fatigue, which that's nothing new. Like we all know that, but it also makes it much harder to keep your eyes on the track and spot crucial things during the race. And this is actually what I think my brother dealt with big time, because he'd be on his phone and everything, and specifically he would notice his eyes while out on the track would literally like start to hurt, and they would also this exact thing where his eyes were almost strained and he just couldn't like he almost couldn't like see straight, you know? So obviously that's kind of on an extreme side of things, but even like where he's like really noticing it and everything, but even if you don't notice it, it's still happening. Like where if you're on your phone and you're constantly distracting yourself in between motos and in between sessions, like your eyes are they're going to be fatigued, and you're not going to have the vision or your highest level of vision that you possibly could. So very, very, very important to keep in mind. And then the last point is that mindfulness and focus. Like there's been many, many studies on mindfulness that show being present and focus improves performance in high pressure situations, which I talk about this all the time. Like being in the zone, like when you are in the zone and in your flow, which is when you perform best, because that's when you are acting purely off of instinct and tapping into your subconscious mind and not allowing your conscious mind to distract you and get in your own way, which is when you get in your own head. When you're able to get in the zone like that, that's when you are 100% present present and in the moment. You're not thinking about the next corner. You're not thinking about the next race. You're not thinking about your overall at the end of the weekend. You're not thinking about that guy or this guy or that competitor or your dad or your mom or your sponsors or anything else. You are literally where your feet are, and you are taking it turn by turn. That's it. Like, you are completely in the moment, not thinking whatsoever. That is what being mindful and being 100% in focus and being in the zone is. And kind of lost my train of thought there. But basically, when you're on your phone like that and everything, it makes it a lot harder for you to be present and focused like that. So ditching the phone is going to help you stay in the moment and fully engage with what it is that you're doing, which is going to allow you to get in the zone a lot easier. And to be honest, like, I didn't even write this down, but another really big point with this is that if you're on your phone, especially social media, for the love of God, I'm going to make a whole video on this, on get off of social media when you're at the track. Like, eliminate it completely, I swear. Get off of it. But one thing, especially with social media when you're on your phone at the track, is like, if you see anything negative, or maybe you see your competitor who's training and they look pretty good and they look pretty fast and they look in shape or whatever else, like, that is going to get in your mind, and that is going to cause a mental block or brain fog and everything. It's going to get in your way, and it's going to make you start doubting whether or not you can beat them, or whether or not you're putting in enough work, or whether or not you're better than them, or whatever else. And that's going to, once again, get in the way of you being mindful and focused and in the moment, and make it harder for you to be able to get in the zone. So that's another reason to get off your phone, especially social media. Like, get off of that. So yeah, and then some examples, honestly, that are pretty good is imagine that your brain's like a muscle. Now, before a race, you wouldn't tire out your body with a full-blown workout and everything right before a race. You're just going to do a quick warm-up. So why tire your brain out with mindless scrolling and being on your phone, playing a game, or whatever else? The only thing that I'll use my phone for when I'm at the track at a race or whatever is I'll just listen to music. That's it. I really like listening to music at the track and everything. I just like that a lot. It seems to help me a lot. So that's what I do. But I literally make sure that I'm not on my phone. The only thing that I will do on my phone, which I actually do think is really, really useful at the track, is I've actually saved a lot of videos on my phone and clips of Jet Lawrence, Jorge Prado, and Chase Sexton, a lot of top guys, and I've saved clips of them riding, and then while I'm at the track, I'll slowly scroll and watch them riding, and it'll kind of remind me of the right form to be in, the right technique to have, and all those little things, and then I'll be able to go and actually practice it on the track. So that's really the only thing that I'll do on my phone, but I'll still do that very minimally, because I'll also notice if I'm scrolling through those videos and watching them, once again, I'm not scrolling on social media. I literally have these videos saved on my phone. So it's in my photos. But when I'm watching those, it's also still a lot of stimulation, and I will notice a bit of eye fatigue and eye strain after doing that. So I'll do it very minimally, kind of just to quickly remind myself of whatever it is that I want to focus on that day, whatever form, technique, all those sorts of things. And then I'll put the phone away. So that's just a quick thing. And then lastly, the physical readiness. Also, another example you can use is just you wouldn't eat junk food before a race, which this really goes back to the social media thing, is that you don't want to feed your brain junk information. You want to stay sharp and stay ready. And honestly, social media is so full of just junk and all kinds of crap. For the most part, to be honest, other than, honestly, I think my videos on social media are pretty useful and have good information and everything. So myself, and then other social media influencers who are putting out videos that are actually useful and stuff. Aside from that, which that's probably 0.1% of social media content out there, most of it is a bunch of junk and useless stuff anyway, just for entertainment and everything. And that's not what you want when you're at the track. You don't want to be feeding your mind with all that crap and that junk. You want your mind focused and sharp. So just keep that in mind. But overall, this is seriously something that is so simple, but after I just laid all that out, hopefully you understand why it's actually very serious and why it's so important to stay off of your phone. And how much it can honestly help you with your focus, getting in the zone, all those sorts of things. So anyway, I'll leave off with that. Get off your damn phone at the track. And if you notice that you start getting on your phone, remember this video and everything. Just start listening to music and stuff, and then just put your phone away. you know, or just like turn it completely off whenever you're at the track and just be in the moment. And yeah, and you'll notice a pretty significant improvement. Trust me. Like I know I have, ever since I started doing that, which was quite a while ago. But anyway, I'll leave off with that. So if you liked the video, definitely feel free to subscribe for more stuff like this. And if you're a racer and you want to apply to work with me for custom training and everything, the link for that is in the description below. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Peace.